There we go.
All right. I'm sorry, you didn't eat all your grapes, so. Get down.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm just talking to y'all off mute.
Good
Muted.
morning. Good morning.
Hello. Hello.
I apologize. I'm just having a few technical difficulties here. I hope everybody's doing amazing though. Let me see here. Okay. All right. Okay. So yeah, for those who don't know me, of course, my name's Rachel. I'm going to be the host today for this mastermind call. I actually am part of Powerhouse. Definitely want to give a shout out to all of our powerful leaders here, of course, starting with Mr. Doug Blake, Mr. David Price, and to my direct leader, Mr. Donaldo Harris. Definitely thank you guys for all that you do for the big team. Today, I actually do want to get straight into it. And I promise I'm going to try not to hold you guys too long. Let me see here. What I want to talk about today, I'm sure you guys have probably either read or heard of the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. Let's see if I can actually. I get some help with muting people.
Hey, Rachel, if you make me one, I'll help you.
Let's see. Okay, but first I have to get privileges.
Hey, go sit down so I can put your socks and stuff on.
Andy, mute Andy.
Okay. Got it. Let's see. Okay. Thank you guys. Thanks, Val. Thanks, Mr. Donaldo. Okay. All right, so back to what I was saying. So I'm sure you guys have heard of the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. Anybody know what I'm talking about? Maybe read it, heard of it? Yes. Okay, yeah. Great. So what I'm going to do today is we're going to talk about how to win and influence your prospects, right? So that's what we're going to get straight into, okay? Let me so I can share this. And hopefully this will be fine. All right. Is that zoomed in too far? You guys can see that, correct? Okay, good deal. All right, so we're going to talk about some successful tips on how to win and influence your prospect, okay? We're going to be, of course, you want to treat them as if you were the customer. That is important. If you know that you wouldn't, stand for this, or you're not going to do business, with somebody because of certain reasons, then you should be expecting the same. It goes back to what we talk about. You actually buy the way you sell. I mean, you sell the way you buy, right? Like me, just being honest. If I want something, I already know today if I'm going to get it or I'm not going to get it. I don't have to think about it. I don't know if I buy on impulse or not. Maybe that's what it is. But I'm going to make a decision today. I'm not a procrastinator when it comes to something that I want, if I really want it. You know what I mean? So treat them as if you were the customer. All right. So some major components of the influence part. Of course, you want to be a trusted seller. All right. You want to let them trust you, because to buy is to trust. Of course, we already know that people do buy from the people that they like and the people that they can trust. So you should be practicing, prioritizing, building the relationships with these prospects with trust and credibility. Okay, that's super important. If I don't trust you, I'm not buying anything from you. Okay. Now, the next one is listen more than you actually speak. Okay. So has anybody ever, gotten to, you're doing a presentation and you're just trying to get all your information. You kind of feel like I'm talking probably way too much. Trying to figure out how I can go back. You know what I mean? Has anybody ever done that before? Like, I should probably let them talk a little bit. I know what I'm talking about. So you should be listening more than you speak, okay? That's why I say, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth, right? You should be listening, without interrupting. Sometimes, we could probably be so anxious to get out what we want to say and, really, not paying attention to what they're saying. What do they call that? You're listening to respond, but you're not really listening. You're not hearing them, right? And most successful people, they actually do more listening than talking. You know what I mean? So that is very essential when it comes to influencing your prospects. The third thing would be transparency, right? About you and the products. We should be talking to them, guys, being open, being honest, and we should be communicating well, effectively. All right. It shouldn't just be, we're on surface level things. You really need to open up so that way you can actually dissect and get to the root of, how we can help them in the first place. Okay. So be very transparent. All right. So now we're going to get into the depths of exactly what I mean. All right. So first impressions matter. All right. Definitely when we get on these phones, of course, or you go to these houses, of course, and mainly, of course, I do telesales, only. I'm not a field agent, but you can still tell, the difference. Like when you're on the phone, people can pick up your energy, right? The same way we can pick up their energy, they can pick up our energy. So we need to be making sure that when we do knock on these doors and we're on these phones, that we have a great attitude, remaining positive, and that we're building rapport. Rapport is pretty much the foundation, of course, of the relationship between you and the prospect, right? I believe that building rapport is actually 80% of the sale. One of my favorite things to do, actually, when presenting, and like I said, because sometimes with telesales, of course, I mean, not sometimes, all the time, you need to be smiling. You need to be smiling. You don't sound like the clear eyes guy, man. Nobody wants to hear the clear eyes guy. Nobody wants to hear the nonchalant attitude. You know what I mean? Nobody paying attention or feel like that, you're not paying attention to them. You want to be smiling because when you smile, it projects a different tone, okay, of your voice. You know what I mean? You can tell if I'm just talking to you guys like this and I'm just giving you information, or well, I'm talking to you guys like this, and I'm actually giving you information. So it is a difference. And if you're one of those people who, just saying, you have the resting face, you know what I'm talking about. All right. And that's just not you. Get you a mirror. All right. Do the mirror check. Keep that handy on your desk or wherever your workspace is so that you can be being attentive of that, so that you're aware of, whether or not you are smiling. Because like I said, it definitely makes a difference because it creates that friendly atmosphere. All right. Use first names and create familiarity, right? I want to make sure that when I'm talking to you, so even in my introduction, right, we're talking about first impressions. So if I'm calling Miss Cindy, hey, Miss Cindy, how you doing today? Or hey, Miss Cindy, what's going on? I'm not calling her by last name. Like if her name is Cindy Jones, I'm not saying Mrs. Jones. I know some people do that, but to me, when you call somebody by their first name, it actually shows that you may know them. And it does raise the question of, who is this? If I'm calling you and I can start talking to you and I say, hey, Miss Cindy, how you doing today? You answer me and we've already started, talking and got the ball rolling. And after that, you ask me after a little while talking, who is this? I'm winning, because I've made you already feel so comfortable that you let your guard down to even talk to me in the first place. So definitely want to be on a first name basis and create, like I said, that familiarity. When you're talking to them, as well as, with building rapport, make sure that you are asking about their family, you know what I mean? And asking about their interests. And there's a big emphasis on there. All right. Because, we want to make it about them, right? People love to talk about themselves. All right. We know that. They love to talk about themselves, grandbabies, their kids, anything, the job, maybe something that they're passionate about. I want to know about you. I want to get to know you. Right. But I also, although I am letting them talk more, I don't want to be biased. You know what I mean? I don't want it to where you're the only person that's actually sharing with me exactly what you do or what you like. I want to give you a little bit of me. You know what I mean? I want to be able to open up so that I can, get you to understand me just like I want to understand you. Right. So if they are like just say they have kids, right? We ask them, well, do you have children? Miss Sabrina, do you have children? And then you say, oh, well, yeah, I actually do. Well, how many kids do you have? All right. And then you might say, I have two. Oh, okay, awesome. Okay, so let me ask you, do you have a girl and a boy? Do you have just girls, just boys? Oh, I have a girl and a boy. Oh, so you have the best of both worlds, like my mom. So, I try to make it relatable. Oh, well, yeah, I do. Or if they say, oh, I just have girls. And, oh, you have two girls? Miss Sabrina, I gotta know, man. Like, these girls, they're a handful. I have a 3-year-old daughter. She tries me every day, Miss Sabrina. I don't know what to do with it. Do you have any tips for me? Like, I want to make sure that I'm sharing, like I said, a piece of me. And believe it or not, that those things stick with them. When you do check back in, once they become your client, they remember those things about you, just like you remember those things about them, right? So you want to use different types of phrases. You want to let them know up front, hey, I'd be happy to help you today. All right. I definitely understand how blank that may be. Depending on the conversation, that could be anything that you fill in the blank for. It may be that, it's so important for them to get this coverage today because, their kids have always taken care of them. And now they want to do something to protect, their kids. Hey, I understand how important that this may be to you. I want to let them know that I care. A sale, it always begins with an authentic connection. All right. All right, so the next thing, of course, is telling me more. So now we're getting off into more of the winning, right? We need to be knowing exactly how we can help them. First impression, I'm with you now, you know what I mean? You have a little bit of me, I have a little bit of you. Now tell me more, all right? So we have to identify the problem. We have to do that first. What is the problem? Why did they call in? Why did they send the request? Why do they need help, right? So if we're identifying the problem, sometimes, you guys, it's just surface level of what we get, if that makes sense. And sometimes you have to make sure that you're digging deeper and going a step further because it's not always just what they say, So that brings me to the next point of B. You should be clearly defining the root of the issue. So I know you told me that, the problem is that you don't have any coverage, or that you dropped that last coverage with the last insurance company. But why? You know what I mean? Why did you drop that? You know what I mean? I need to really understand the root of why you don't have any coverage. Why did you drop them? I need to know so that I can do the last step in providing possible solutions. I'm a solutionist, right? I can't provide you possible solutions if I really don't even know what the root of the issue is. Did you leave that last company because they were too expensive? Was it maybe poor customer service and it was affordable? I need to know these things so that I can, make sure that on my end, I'm taking care of you properly and handling everything well, so that I know not to do those things again. And that way I can reassure you that you're going to be making the best choice over here. Okay. The next step here will be active listening. Again, like I said, most successful people, they do more listening than talking, right? When we're actively listening, like I said, they need to be heard. It's not something that where you just, oh, okay, I understand. Well, we have this, well, we have that. No, you need to be focused, be focusing on what matters to them, not you. It's not about you. It's not about us, right? Respectfully. I understand that, it's a business. I understand that people want to make money, but all that commission breath and all that stuff, people can tell, you know what I mean? If you focus on providing the service to them, simply because service to many leads to greatness, you won't even have to worry about commission, the money and all that, because that's going to come. You just make sure that you're doing right by them, because by you focusing on what matters to them and not just what matters to you, then that shows that you value them. And that's what we want to do. We want them to understand that we value them here and that they're not just another number. Like I said, you want to get into, depth with what they're talking about and what does matter to them. I want to know what keeps you up at night. I want to get to know you. Why is this so important to you? What would this be like if you didn't do anything today? What kind of position would that leave your family in? And why does that matter to you too? Right. And then if you are actively listening, it makes it much easier so that you can actually go and confirm, because you can repeat back what you heard. So, okay, so you told me, Miss Crystal, so today you called in because, you haven't had any insurance ever. You know what I mean? You've been irresponsible all your life. You said, your words, not mine, right? You've been irresponsible all your life, but now you want to take a stand and you want to do something to make sure that your kids are protected. But you want to leave them a little bit of money behind because you have a son and a daughter. You want to leave it equally, but you're not trying to break the bank either because you're on a fixed income, right? Am I hearing that right, Miss Crystal? And if that's correct, they'll correct you, or I'll maybe start it out and say, correct me if I'm wrong. So that way I can still have a clear understanding, because even if I did get it wrong, well, that's what you're here for. Tell me again, make sure that I understand so that I know how to help you. All right. All right. So bringing me to the next thing here, learning to empathize. All right. You do win people over when you're empathetic, not sympathetic. You know what I mean? It goes back to what we always hear. People don't care about how much you know until they know how much you care. If I feel like you don't really care about what I'm saying, or, you're just trying to sell me something, or I'm telling you something about maybe my experience, at like a funeral home, or what I had to deal with the death of my family here recently. And you're just like, oh, okay, well, this, and the third. Well, you're not listening to me. You're not listening. You're not taking the time to actually hear me. You need to be empathizing with them. Hey, listen, I'm so sorry that happened to you. First off, I do want to give you my condolences, and I'm so sorry that happened to you. I definitely understand how frustrating that could be. I understand how you feel. You want to be relatable. And then, in things like this, when you're showing empathy, this is where it comes when you share your stories. Facts tell, stories sell. Share something that maybe, you may have had a similar experience. Maybe you had to bury someone before and you were in charge and things didn't go so well. Or maybe, you can actually share an experience of where things did go well, and maybe some tips on what you did to make sure that they went well. So you just want to make sure that you are empathetic no matter what, with the prospect, so that way they know that you do care. All right. Brings me to my next point here, professionalism. I want to know that I'm talking to the expert. I don't know about y'all, but I want to talk to the expert, because if I knew it all, I wouldn't be calling in. If I had the solution, I don't need to call and ask anybody for answers. I already know the answer, right? So in being professional, you definitely want to make sure, first and foremost, that you're confident. You have to be confident, and you have to understand that you have authority. You have to see yourself as the expert, because if you don't see yourself as the expert, you know what I mean? And I don't care if you've been doing this 2 days or 2 years, it doesn't matter. If I've been doing it 2 days, I don't want them to know that. I remember when I first started doing this and people would say, how long have you been doing this? A while. It might be, it might be 2 weeks. I've been doing this a while. Absolutely. Oh, you sound like you know your stuff. Oh, I'm certain, hey, I've seen a lot of different things, while I've been doing this, Miss Jacqueline. I've seen a lot of different things here. So that's why I'm able to share this with you. So be confident, understand you have authority, make sure that you are identifying yourself as the expert, and be knowledgeable about your product. Half the time, the reason why you're not confident, and even as new agents, we're not, as confident when we start out, because we're not really certain. We're not really sure about, what the product is, or maybe what it does, or maybe we haven't studied, long enough. So we are not knowledgeable. But if you're knowledgeable and you know this product backwards and forwards, it's going to be a piece of cake. The product sells itself anyway. But you have to know that. So when, Miss Kim does have questions, you'll be able to answer that. And y'all know my favorite thing is having the confidence on Kanye. I say it almost every time. Your confidence needs to be on Kanye. All right. You should have assurance from your own abilities. All right. Know that you have the ability to help these clients. Know that, you can actually solve their problem. And that brings me to my final point here, which is reassurance, right? They have to have reassurance. If you cannot reassure me that, this is the best thing since sliced bread, your company, that's just what it is. This is where it stops. My search stops here. If you can't reassure them of that, I mean, what are we doing? You should be certain. All right. You should be speaking with certainty. So when you're talking to them, please, please, please don't use things like, well, I think that, we can do this, or, I'm maybe we could probably do that. No, they don't want to know what you think that you may be able to do. They want to know what you can do, right? What can your company provide? How are you going to give me peace of mind? All right. And there should be a level of sincerity behind it when you are reassuring them, right? Because like I said, it doesn't matter if you don't care, right? You should be able to help them understand, like I said, that you can solve the problem that they have, and that you're going to leave them. So I tell you what, Mr. Donaldo, when we get off this phone, I'm going to leave you in a better position than you are right now. All right. I assure you that we're going to be able to find something that, you know, is going to be able to do everything that you want. We're going to be able to make sure that we cover those traditional burial needs. We actually have a program that's going to be specifically for that. And we're going to help you save money on the back end so that your kids, you know, your son and your daughter, you can make sure that they have, you know, an adequate amount of money, of income left over. Okay. But we're not going to break the bank because, hey, we do specialize in working with our seniors who are living on a fixed income. Okay. So you let them know I'm creating the clarity of everything that I plan to do. I'm setting the stage. They know. And like I said, they're prospects. So they're not your client yet. We're talking about you're getting them to be, you're trying to win them over. So that's what you need to do. That's all essential in making sure that you do win and, of course, influence your prospect. All right. Now, the message of the day that I do want to leave you guys with is to just make sure that you sell the problem you solve and not the product that you sell. Because like I said, we already know, seriously, I mean, nobody else has what we have, right? You know, we're unmatched as far as like the service that we provide. You know what I mean? So the product is going to sell itself. Don't worry about the product. Be knowledgeable about it, but don't focus on that. Don't focus on having to sell the product. I just need you to understand the prospect is who I'm talking about. We want them to understand that we are solutionists, we're service providers, we're risk advisors, and we have, you know, what they need, right? All right, and got them. That's how you win, right? Jackpot. Any questions, concerns, comments?
Can you go back to the slide, sell the problem? I just want to take a picture of that. Thank you. That was good.
Of course.
Appreciate it. Good message.
No problem. Let me pull it back up. Anybody else while I'm pulling this back
great
up?
information. Great job.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much, Rachel. Amazing information. Can you kind of share with us how you do incorporate your clients and your benefits and features presentation so that it's not just a spill of information? Does that make sense?
Shoot. Okay, hold on. Yeah, I'm trying to multitask here. Okay. All right. Now give it to me again. The question again. Well, there.
I just wanted to like just kind of hear an example from you as to how for all of us, like how you incorporate your clients within your benefits and features presentation so that it's not just you spewing information.
Okay. So in the beginning, when I open it up, and I hope I'm going to answer, and if I don't, let me know. So in the beginning, when I'm asking, I always like to make sure that I understand what's the real reason they called in, right? So I like to ask questions like, you know, so tell me, you know, what exactly do you want this policy to do for you? And I let them talk. So I take my notes, you know, I usually write down, you know, exactly the key points of what they said. And like I said, so if they tell me, you know, of course, like I said about the kids, that they want to leave money behind, right? Okay, well, I need to understand more. So I know, so you want to have enough for final expenses and you want to leave money behind, correct? Right. Okay. Hey, but I'm on a fixed income, so I can't afford very much. Hey, absolutely. So that's where I incorporate, you know, the things that we do of saying, hey, well, you know what? Don't worry about it. All right, Sean, because listen, we do actually specialize in helping our seniors who are living on a fixed income. And I know that applies to you as well. So we're definitely going to find something that's going to be comfortable and affordable for you today. Because listen, there's no point in getting anything, you know, at all if you can't keep it. There's no point of us getting something that we can't keep. All right. So we're going to find something and we're going to customize it to your needs and your budget. All right. When it comes to like legacy, if they've told me, I focus on an either or. All right. So if they tell me I want to be buried, you know, I don't want to be cremated, you know, some people are iffy about that. If they say whatever they want, I don't speak on the other one. Now I may hit points on it. Like if you want to be buried, hey, even if somebody else, you know, on your legacy membership, if they want to be cremated, we'll be able to help them as well in providing the merchandise and price negotiating. I'm not trying to overkill on the cremation though. So if you tell me you want a traditional burial with a casket, okay, absolutely. You know, have you ever had to plan anything like this before? Oh, I had to bury my brother. You know, I mean, I had to plan for my brother. He passed away. Well, how long ago was that? You know, oh, okay. Okay. And about how much did that cost you? Do you remember of what that was like for you? How much that cost? And then they'll tell me, of course, okay, right. And you said that was how long ago? Just say they said, because I had some lady said last night, 15 years ago. Right. You know, and 15 years ago, you know, what we could bury someone 15 years ago for, you know, doc, we can't do that. You know, now it's 15 years later. Just like today, what, you know, a traditional burial costs, hey, we live another 10, 15 years. We already know with the rising cost of funeral arrangements and, services, it's not going to be the same. And so then I kind of go out with my benefits as it pertains to what they say. You know what I mean? I let them lead, and then I take control of the call. So I'm going to let you tell me something, but I'm in control. I'm going to let you think like you're in control, but I'm in control of what's going to be going on, of, how things are going to go, so that I can just make sure that I'm on the same page with you. Does that make sense of what I'm saying? Does that answer the question?
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Okay. Awesome. No problem, Martin. Ali?
Presentation, definitely some great tips that we can use. Speaking of tips, what tips do you have, whether for new agents or people that have, been here even 6 months or longer, on, breaking the ice on those folks you're going to get, that you're probably the 100th call that they got, they don't feel like talking. What tips do you have to kind of smooth things over and get them to lower their guard?
I call them out. I address elephants in the room. That's fun to me. I don't know, I guess. So if I get someone on the phone, what I mean by that is just say, they're really, like I said, low or monotone, or like they don't want to talk to me. I'm not going to keep going. I'm not going to waste my time. You sound like you don't want to talk to me. So now I need to ask you about it. I need to know. So now Miss Pam, now what is it? Did I do it? I just called you. It's Rachel. I'm only getting back to you because you told me to. What's going on today? And that's how, some people can say, oh, well, honey, I just got a lot going on. Or honey, you really caught me at a bad time. I just didn't feel well. Or, whatever it is. I like to address that. If you're being mean to me, or I have people, they can start off okay. And then you make me feel like you're bored. Don't make me feel like you're bored. My time is valuable, just like yours. So if you're, and I feel like you're just rushing me, like you just want me to hurry up and get to get to the price. No, we're not doing that. I'm not gonna rush and get to the price. I'm the captain of the ship over here. Like, no, it don't work like that. So now I'm gonna ask. I want to know. So if you're and mostly it's like men mostly who do it. I'm sorry, y'all. It is. So if you just say some people are just like that. So it does. You do have to get to know who you're talking to. But some people, like I said, they just want it. So I'm gonna say, all right, now, now, Doug, you're not listening to me. I feel like you're not listening to me because you sure are a whole lot. What did I say? I heard what you said. Most of the time they laugh. I heard what you said. I know you said that you got something that's gonna help me save money. You're gonna get my casket. They don't know every detail because they can't. It's a lot of information, but they can tell you the gist of it. And you have to do that. You know what I mean? Sometimes that makes them smile and lightens the load because you're human. But if I just keep going and what I'm saying, there's no common ground. I'm not making you laugh or nothing. You know what I mean? Now it's time to be serious. I'm not goofy the whole time, y'all. I like to laugh, like to smile, but I'm not goofy the whole time. But just to get somebody to open up, yes, I'm gonna address the elephant in the room. I need to know. Like, now, Mr. Rodney, you're not gonna treat me bad. Now, trying to rush me to get to these quotes. I'm gonna give them to you, but bear with me. I gotta help you out. You need to know because I don't know about you, Mr. Rodney, but I don't like to pay for anything that I don't know anything about. You got to tell me something. And most of the time people can relate to that. And I mean, I'm just being me, but they can appreciate that. It may not work on everybody. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying it's something that's all the time great, but most of the time it works. So that's what I have. Just be transparent. Again, that's being open and honest, and you're just communicating with them. So, hope that helps.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Rodney, what you got for me?
No, I just was going to, again, great information. I just was going to add to the gentleman asked the call, I think Martin, about how you incorporate your presentation in there with the customers. And one way you do that, and you said it, but you want to ask an open-ended question. You want to ask a question that they have to answer other than just with yes or no. And that'll get them talking and engaged in the conversation. And that way you'll learn more information about them and building rapport. One of the things that I like to do in the very beginning of the call is right on the first, once I get them on the phone and we start, and I take live transfers, that's all I do. I don't work in the field as well. So when they call in, I mean, you called in for something. So we're going to start with your name. I'm going to verify their birthday. The first point of building rapport for me is when they give me their birthday, oh, you're 76 years young. When you add young to that, most of the time you're going to get a laugh or I don't feel young. And no matter what they say, I always come back with, hey, you're only as young as you feel. And that opens up the door for communication. And that's when you right there start building rapport. And then you can get them to start letting that guard down. Now, some of them you're going to have to do a little bit more work on and be a little bit more creative, like Rachel said. And you just got to be, I was talking to an agent yesterday and I'm like, hey, you got to be straight up and ask the hard questions. And it's so important that when a customer tells you, hey, yeah, I'm doing this because I verify that. So Mr. Jones, you called in today because you want to add something. So, you know, if something happens, your family won't have to pay for this. If he says yes, that's ammunition for you later on in the call to bring that back to his remembrance. Mr. Jones, you said you wanted to do this to protect your family. And so that's how you get them engaged and get them talking. Because again, like I said, they like to talk about themselves, but great information. Just ask those open-ended questions that require something other than just yes or no. That's all I got. Good job, Rach.
Thank you. Anybody else? Nope. All right.
Rachel,
Yes.
Rachel?
Yes, Miss Pam.
sorry, I didn't put my hand up.
That's fine.
It was a great presentation. I liked your PowerPoint and having that so I can screenshot it. Great ideas. And
Yes, ma'am.
my question
Thank you.
is, I'm accustomed to inbound calls, but when I'm dialing out, how do you get past the point where being fairly new with the company, the people that are just angry and you don't even have a chance to say, you called us, you asked for information. Sometimes I can't even get that first sentence out before I already have the sense that they're angry, stop calling me and things like that. So how do you get past that and have a chance to even go further in the presentation? Does that make sense?
It makes sense. It makes perfect sense. Yes, ma'am. So the first 5 to 60 seconds is the most vital part of the
Yes.
call anyway. So when you call them and just say, you know, they've been getting calls probably since 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning already. And then now you're calling. You're just another call, right? They don't know.
Yeah.
So when they do that, do you hang up? I mean, when they hang up, do you call them back or do you just kind of accept it for what it is and just like, okay, they're angry, I'll just call them back another day?
No, and I use a mirror and I smile, and you're right, 7 seconds they form an opinion. And so I call them back and I just say, well, something happened, we must have gotten disconnected. I just want to let you know that I'm here to help you with your request that you made for more information about final expense. So
Okay. So my suggestion to that is don't sound so salesy. You need to sound familiar, because when you call me back and you're saying, I'm just trying to help you, it just sounds like I'm just trying to sell you something. And I know that's not, necessarily what it is, but sometimes we sound like that. So now we got to change it up and do something different. So ring, ring, I call somebody, they say, look, stop calling me or whatever. I don't have somebody cuss me out. And then like the next couple of days, I'm saying, I'm like, look, listen. And I say it like, listen to me. Listen, Linda, it's Rachel. Now hold on. I'm not a telemarketer. Let them know I'm not a telemarketer. Okay. I know you're probably used to getting these calls, and I like to give the disclaimer in the beginning. Hey, listen, I know, Miss Linda, you are not expecting my call. You're probably wondering who is calling you from Mississippi, because that's where I'm at. You're probably wondering who's calling you from Mississippi. Yeah, I am, but telemarketers aren't saying that. Telemarketers are, because I'm sure you answer the phone. Maybe sometimes people do. You don't say anything. You just wait and see what they're gonna say. Like, let me see. Just answer. Let me see what they're gonna say, and then you hear an automated, system start going on, and you're like, man, this not even a real person, right? So say something or do something different to catch their attention. So they hang up the first time, right? That didn't work. What you did, cool. All right. So when you call back the next time and they answer and say, what? Hey, Miss Linda. Now I'm not a telemarketer. All right. I'm not a telemarketer. I'm only getting back to you because that's what you wanted me to do. Then that gives them reason to say, oh, well, who are you? Yes, ma'am. So listen, my name's Rachel. You actually recently had called into the TV commercial. You were looking for different ways to protect. I can't talk. You were looking for ways to protect your family. It was about life or burial insurance. And then you don't end it there. You still end it with a question. When you called in, were you, just calling in to get information just for yourself, or was it for you and somebody else? But you got to have something to grasp their attention. even if it is listen, listen, Linda, it's Pam. I'm not
Yes.
a telemarketer. Say it like real quick. Listen, Linda, it's Pam. I'm not a telemarketer. Or listen, I'm not a telemarketer. Before you hang up. I used to have an old business partner. She used to say, don't you hang up this phone, Miss Linda. That's how she talked to people. And I know it's funny, but that would catch their attention. And she would just say, don't you hang up this phone. And then they wouldn't hang. I don't know what it was about what she said, but
I absolutely love that because sometimes I believe in what I do and I believe in the life insurance and the people we help. But sometimes, even though I'm working to smile and make sure that I convey a happy spirit, I sound too formal or something. I don't know. But
yes,
see,
ma'am.
I would love to be able to say that. Don't you hang up on me. And but I guess I'm too stiff to just be that comfortable, and I need to be able to do that. I love that response. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. You're welcome. We have to get out of our comfort zone. It may not be something that you do, but that's what we practice. It's tonality. You can just look up different things on tonality, different videos. You know what I mean? Because you can't just say, don't you hang up this phone. It has to be, don't you hang up this phone. It's a difference. If I tell you, don't you hang up this phone, you might be like, talking to. But if I say, don't you hang up this phone, I mean, I'm smiling, you can tell it's a difference. So you definitely have to make sure, you know what I mean, that we're on the same page with the tonality. But that's a great question. Definitely.
Yes, that's great information. Thank you so much. It's great.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you.
All right. That's all I have for you guys. If nobody has any other questions, we got end of the month goals. We got to get to it. So
Give it up for Rachel.
Thank
Yeah,
you so much for today.
Awesome. Thank you.
Awesome presentation.
Thank you.
Great job,
Rachel.
Thank you, Rachel.
You are
You guys have an amazing
amazing.
day.
You too, Rachel. Thank you so much.
You too.
Thank you. Thank you, Rachel.
Thank you, Rachel.
Thank you, Miss Rachel.